Good morning, students. Our session of corporate finance. Now, in our last session, we already discussed the factors affecting dividend policy and determinants of dividend policy was there in your homework. I think you already read the determinants that affects the dividend policy. So now today we are going to start the new topic, that is constraints on paying dividend. Yes, there are few limitations, there are few constraints that is going to restricted, or they are making the provision for the payment of dividends to our shareholders. Now let's discuss these constraints one by one. The first one, that is legal requirements. Yes, the legal requirement, that is through government, the company must get the green signal for the government, that now when government allows the organization for the payment of dividends to their equity shareholders, then and then company is able to pay dividends to their shareholders. Now the basic requirement that first and foremostly the company needs to pay their depreciation, the current depreciation on their fixed assets, as well as any provisions regarding the past depreciation that must be cleared. So without declaring or without paying depreciation on the fixed assets, the company is not able to pay dividend to their shareholders. So it is a government rule, it is a company rule that first and foremostly organization needs to pay their dividend on their fixed assets. Then and then the second provision is that dividend has to be paid in cash only. Yes, as far as our Indian constitutions are concerned, it is a basic provision for the organization that company pay dividend in cash only. But there are few restrictions, or there are few constraints are also there at the time of paying dividend to their shareholders. Now, for the payment of dividend, the company needs to follow the guideline which is issued by SEBI, that needs to be fulfilled at the time of paying dividend to their shareholders. And the third requirement, that is company is not able to pay dividend out of their capital. Yes, the company is going to pay dividend out of their net profit only. If the company is paying dividend out of the capital, then legally it is not allowed. So company will pay dividend only out of its net profit. So these three legal requirements needs to be followed at the time of paying dividend to the shareholders. Then after, second one, that is restriction imposed by loan creditors. Yes, again loan is a borrowed fund which is raised by the organization. So first and foremostly, the company cannot pay dividend until it reach a certain level of earning, or it may be a limit on a percentage of dividend. If company gets the borrowed fund from the bank, then first and foremostly company needs to pay the credit installment on time, and then after company will declare a certain limited level of dividends to their shareholders. Because if the credit requirement of the organization is not satisfied, then company will not pay a supernormal dividends to their shareholders. Then after, the third one is liquidity position. Yes, if the working capital is managed in a proper manner, that if the company has enough liquid resources with them, then the company can easily pay dividend to their shareholders. But every time it is not possible that company will pay cash dividend to their shareholders on the regular basis. But first and foremostly, the organization tries to satisfy their liquid position in a proper manner. Then and then they are going to declare the dividend out of their net profit. If the liquid position is not going to maintain in a proper manner, then how come company will declare a cash dividend to their shareholder? So the first basic requirement, that is to satisfy the basic liquidity position in the company, and then after the declaration of the dividend will be there. Then after, the next constraint is financial position. If the financial position of the organization is strong, if the company is a matured fund, then they are not going to make a retained earning at the maximum level. But if it is the initial period for the organization, and if the company is not able to maintain their liquidity position in a proper manner, if the company is in the need of finance for the growth, for the expansion purpose, then in the initial stage the proportion of retained earning will be high and the proportion of dividend will be minimum. And slowly and gradually, if the financial position of the organization is going to be strong enough, then company may easily transfer their profit by way of dividend to their shareholders. But it is possible where the liquidity position of the company is strong as well as the financial position of the organization is sound enough. The next point is maintaining control. Now, in maintaining control, the desired management or a group of shareholders to maintain control over the company has a strong influence on the dividend policy. Whatever dividend policy is declared by the organization, on the basis of that declaration of the dividend policy, the management or the shareholders are going to control the whole management. Like if the company declared the higher dividend, then but obvious the liquidity position will be adversely affected. And if the company declared the lower dividend, then company is able to maintain their liquidity position. So when the cash control, when the credit control is within the hand of the organization, then definitely they are able to maintain a proper control in the organization by declaring a proper proportion of dividends to their shareholder. Then after, the next one is stability of earning. Yes, if the company achieves a stability in their earning, then definitely company is able to declare the higher rate of dividends to their shareholders. But if the earning is not stable, if the earning is fluctuating, then definitely company is not able to declare a regular dividends to their shareholders. And again, company is not able to maintain a proper stability in the dividend policy if the earning is not proper. Then after, the next one is opportunity for growth. Yes, if there is an opportunity for the growth in the financial market, at that time the proportion of retained earning will be maximized by the organization. And if in the financial market, if no such opportunity for the growth, for the expansion is going to be there for the organization, then definitely company will decrease their proportion of retained earning and they will maximize the proportion of dividend distribution. So it is totally depends upon the opportunity which is available in the external market. Then after, the next one is access to capital market. Yes, we can easily say that with the help of dividend policy or with the help of a proper dividend policy, a company can easily access to the capital market. As we already know that the financially strong or large size organization have that types of advantages to the capital market. They are declaring the proper dividend policy, they are declaring the stable dividend policy. So slowly and gradually the organization is in position to rule the capital market. So we can easily access to the capital market by declaring a proper dividend to our shareholders. And then after, the last constraint is about inflation. Yes, inflation and recession, it directly affects the decision of dividend policy of any organization. As we already know that when the price rises, the fixed assets become costlier and the depreciation is charged only on the past value. As replacement value, depreciation is not allowed by income tax authority. Hence, when the assets are to be replaced, the amount of depreciation accumulated is not enough to buy the new assets, and for that reason the company is paying a maximum depreciation on the costlier assets, and as a result the net profit will be at the minimum level, and company is not able to pay a proper dividend to the shareholders. So through inflation, the dividend policy, the decision of dividend policy will adversely affect it. So that's all about the constraints on paying dividends to the shareholders. Now, the next point is dividend policy. Yes, there are many types of dividend policy available in the market. Now, organization will choose the dividend policy as per their financial position, as per their liquidity position, and as per the situation of capital market or the trends of capital market. Again, the decision of dividend policy depends on the three different constraints. The first one is the future earning capacity of the company. If the future is bright, if the future is in the favor of the organization, then definitely company will declare a proper dividend policy to their shareholders. Then after the second one, the ability of management to deploy the profit in project investment instead of declaring the cash dividend. Yes, if the opportunity is there in the market, if company is able to make a huge investment in the external environment, and on the basis of their investment, if the company is able to get the maximum benefits on their investment, then definitely in the initial stage the company will not declare the maximum dividend to their shareholders, and they are going to make a maximum retained earning. And the last constraint or point is the probable impact of the dividend decision on the market price of the listed shares on stock exchanges. Yes, as we already know that with the help of declaring a proper dividend, a company is able to get the benefit of wealth maximization. But somehow, to make the position very strong, the company is declaring dividend in the capital market to attract the potential investors in the market. So, now let's discuss the different types of dividend policy. The first one is no immediate dividend. The name itself suggests that in the initial year, in the initial stage of the organization, the company the company is not declaring any types of dividends to their shareholders, because in the initial stage the company tries to stabilize their financial position. Company needs to achieve the liquidity position in the market. Company want a proper growth, a proper expansion. Company want to access in the capital market. So in the initial stage, company is not at all declare any types of dividends to their shareholders. Once they achieve the position, then after they are declaring a proper dividend to their shareholders. So, but always in the initial stage, as a shareholder, we are not expecting anything from the organization who is new in the capital market, because they want to create a perfect position in the market with the maximum proportion of retained earning. Then after, the next dividend policy is stable dividend. Yes, when the company achieve a proper position in the capital market, if the company's earning is stable, if the company's earning is regular, if the market share of the company is at the maximum level, and if the company can easily predict their future earning on the basis of their present performance, then definitely the company is declaring a stable dividend policy. And the stable dividend policy is totally depends upon the earning capacity of the organization. If the earning capacity of the organization is really very strong, if the company is able to earn a proper profit in the worst situation, then and then company will declare a stable dividend to their shareholders. The next dividend policy, or there are few benefits of the stable dividend policy. First, discuss the benefits. The first one is, with the help of stable dividend policy, this helps in rising the long-term finance. When the company tries to rise finance in future, the investors would examine the dividend records of the company. The investors would not hesitate to invest in the company with the stable dividend policy. Yes, if the stable dividend policy is there, then we can easily say that the company is able to achieve the strongest position in the capital market, as it will enhance the prestige of the company. Yes, when the company is declaring the stable dividend policy, it directly affects the goodwill of the organization, and it will increase the wealth maximization concept of the organization. Then after, the shareholders develop confidence in the management. Yes, now shareholders can easily rely on the management, because management promised them to pay a proper dividend in any situation of the capital market. And then after, it makes long term planning easy. When the earning is stable, when the dividend policy is stable, then it is really very easy to make the long term planning, and company can easily project their financial requirement with the declaring stable dividend policy. Then after, the third type is regular plus extra dividend policy. Yes, when the company's earning is stable, at that time they are declaring the stable dividend policy. But if the market is in a favor, if the company's earning is going to be increased without any internal reason, when the company is able to increase their profit margin, when the market share of the organization will increase immediately, and as a result the net profit is at the maximum level, and no such requirement of retained earning is there. So as a result, company will declare the regular dividend plus the extra dividend. But this extra dividend is not at all declared by the organization each and every year. When in such a situation, in such a year, when the earning is increasing and there is no such investment opportunity is there in the market, at that time company will declare the regular dividend plus the extra dividend. And in some case, when the earning of the organization has permanently increased, at that time the extra dividend should be merged with the regular normal dividend, and as a result the rate of normal dividend should be raised. Then after, the next type of dividend is step ladder dividend policy. In a step ladder dividend policy, the company will increase their rate of dividend slowly and gradually when the earning of the organization is increasing in a proper manner. So in the initial year, company will declare the minimum dividend, and that will continue for a number of years. Then after the completion of a proper year, that is after the completion of 2 to 3 years, the company will increase a nominal rate in their dividend declaration. Then after, again the company will continue with this increasing rate. After the completion of some additional year, company will again slowly increase their rate of dividend. So here company is not suddenly increase the higher rate of dividend, but it will continue with a proper interval of time, that is by slowly and gradually. Now, this step ladder dividend policy is for those organizations whose earning is increasing slowly and gradually. That organization will adopt the step ladder dividend policy for the payment of dividend. Then after, the fifth type is irregular dividend policy. The name itself suggests the dividend rate is totally depends upon the earning capacity of the organization. When the earning is not stable, when the company is not able to get a stable earning over a period of time due to their financial position, due to their liquidity position, due to their market share, due to the reaction of the competitors, at that time the company is not able to get a proper earning, and as a result company is not declaring a proper dividend. So when the earning is fluctuating, at the same time the rate of dividend is also fluctuating. Then after, the next type is regular stock dividend policy. When the company is not declaring cash dividend due to any reason, due to any liquidity reason, due to any financial reason, so at that time when the company announce the dividend by way of stock, so at that time that dividend policy is known as stock dividend policy. And we already know that the stock dividend is also known as the bonus shares. Company is not paying dividend, but they are adding some more shares to their shareholders. So that is known as stock dividend. The next type is regular plus stock dividend. Now in this situation, the company pay a proper amount of cash dividend to their shareholders, but in addition company also pays the additional shares to their shareholders. So that is known as regular dividend plus stock dividend. So in this situation, the dividend is totally divided into two parts. The first part is the cash dividend and the second part is the stock dividend. And the last type of dividend is liberal dividend policy. Now in this case, the company is declaring maximum dividends to their shareholders. There is no restriction on the rate of dividend. Company is declaring the maximum part of their earning by way of shareholders. We can say that when the ratio of dividend distribution is very large, as compared to the ratio of retained earning. At that time we can see that company is following the liberal dividend policy. But this is not the ideal dividend policy for any organization, that is to declare maximum dividends to their shareholders. Because if in the worst situation, if the company is not able to pay a proper dividend to their shareholders, so at that time it harms the prestige of the organization. So this is all about the different types of dividend policy. So that's all for today. I hope it is clear to everyone. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.